What is the most isolated, ancient village on Earth? Do people actually live there? And what is life really like in a place like this? Today, we're traveling deep into the Himalayas. To explore one of the most remote villages on Earth, Dolpo. Is it still possible to find a place where daily life continues without depending on roads, fast communication, or constant outside connection? This is not a question, it is a reality. Movement here is still defined by foot trails rather than highways, and time is measured by distance walked, not distance driven. There are no direct road networks connecting many of its settlements. People walk for days to reach basic services, trade goods, or meet relatives in neighboring areas. Supplies do not arrive quickly, and daily life is organized around what is locally available, rather than what can be accessed instantly. The terrain is rugged and dry, with villages spread far apart. Reaching one settlement from another often requires crossing steep paths and high passes. This physical separation has shaped a system where self-reliance is not optional, it is necessary. Despite these conditions, life continues with consistency. Work follows a steady rhythm, and routines are built around effort and practicality. There is no reliance on speed or convenience, only on what can be managed within the limits of the environment. What stands out here is not difficulty, but continuity. A system that functions without depending on constant external support, where people adapt their lives to conditions that remain unchanged over time. Dolpa Valley is known for its isolation and the way it shapes everyday living. Access to the region is limited, and even within the district, movement between settlements requires significant time and effort. Walking remains the primary mode of travel, and journeys that might seem short on a map can take days in reality. Infrastructure is minimal in many areas. Basic facilities such as healthcare and markets are not always nearby, so people depend on planning and preparation. Seasonal changes directly affect accessibility, and weather conditions can delay or restrict movement for extended periods. The environment is dry and high altitude, which limits agricultural activity and influences how resources are used. Crops are grown within a short seasonal window, and livestock plays an important role in supporting daily needs. Storage and careful use of resources are essential, especially when external supply is uncertain. Daily routines are structured around effort and timing. Tasks are planned according to daylight, weather, and physical capacity. There is little room for excess or waste, and most activities are focused on maintaining stability rather than expansion. Understanding this region comes from observing how systems function with limited access, where continuity depends on planning, effort, and the ability to work within existing conditions. The history of Dolpa Valley is shaped by its long-standing isolation and limited accessibility. Unlike regions that developed through trade networks or centralized administration, Dolpa remained largely self-contained, where communities evolved independently over time. Its remote nature meant that external influence arrived slowly, allowing older systems of living to continue without major disruption. Historically, the district has been sparsely populated, with small settlements spread across difficult terrain. These communities relied on subsistence practices, combining farming, livestock, and local trade to sustain themselves. Due to the absence of strong connectivity, administrative presence remained minimal for long periods, and local systems of organization played a more practical role in daily life. What defines its history is not a series of major events, but continuity. Life has continued here through adaptation rather than transformation, where practices have been maintained because they remain practical in a region with limited external support and challenging conditions. The geography of Dolpa Valley is defined by high-altitude, rugged terrain and environmental variation across elevations. Located within Karnali province, it is Nepal's largest district by area, covering about 7,889 square kilometers. Much of the region lies above 3,000 meters, consisting of deep valleys, arid plateaus, and mountain ranges. The valley falls in the rain shadow of the Dhaulagiri range, which results in dry, high-altitude desert conditions in many areas. This creates a landscape with limited vegetation and low rainfall, unlike other parts of Nepal that receive heavier monsoon influence. The valley also includes prominent peaks such as Kanjiroba Himal and Putha Hunchuli, contributing to its rugged terrain. Survival in Dolpa Valley depends on planning, physical endurance, and efficient use of limited resources. With settlements spread far apart and access to markets or services taking days, people rely heavily on what they produce and store locally. Food is preserved carefully, and supplies are managed to last through periods when movement becomes difficult. Agriculture is seasonal due to altitude and climate. Crops are grown within a short window, and whatever is harvested must support households for extended periods. Livestock plays an equally important role, providing dairy, transport, and additional security for survival. Water sources, though available, are not always easily accessible. In some areas, people must travel significant distances to collect water, especially when natural sources are affected by seasonal changes. There is no dependence on quick external support. Instead, survival is based on preparation and consistency. Every task, from storing food to maintaining shelter, is done with the understanding that conditions can limit movement at any time. This approach allows communities to function steadily, even in an environment where access and resources remain uncertain. The traditional lifestyle in Dolpa Valley continues as a practical system shaped by long-term adaptation. Homes are constructed using locally available materials such as stone, mud, and wood, designed to withstand cold temperatures and strong winds. These structures are compact and built to conserve heat, reflecting an understanding of the environment developed over generations. Daily routines are simple and structured. Families are involved in farming, animal care, and maintaining their homes. Tasks are divided within households, and cooperation plays an important role, especially in remote settlements where outside help is limited. Food habits are based on what can be grown and stored locally. Grains, dairy products, and preserved items form the core of daily meals. There is little dependence on imported goods, as availability remains uncertain. Knowledge is passed down through observation and practice rather than formal systems. Skills related to farming, building, and resource management are learned within families. This lifestyle continues not because it resists change, but because it remains effective in a region where conditions require reliability and consistency. The culture is expressed through daily practices rather than formal display. Traditions are followed as part of routine life, where community cooperation, seasonal work, and shared responsibilities define how people live and interact within their environment. In Dolpa Valley, irrigation is managed through simple but effective systems. Water from streams and glacial sources is directed toward fields using narrow channels. These channels are maintained manually and adjusted depending on water availability. Since rainfall is limited, careful distribution of water is essential. Farmers ensure that each field receives enough supply without waste. The system depends on timing, coordination, and shared responsibility among villagers. Irrigation here is not mechanized. It is controlled through observation and experience, allowing agriculture to continue in a dry, high-altitude environment. Ploughing is done using traditional tools and animal support. Farmers prepare land during short summers, working within limited time. The process is manual and labor-intensive, reflecting a system where farming depends on effort rather than machinery. Milking cattle is a regular part of life in Dolpa. Animals such as yaks, cows, and goats provide milk, which is used for daily consumption and for making butter and other products. This activity is usually done early in the morning and again later in the day. It requires consistency, as livestock must be cared for properly to maintain production. Milk is not only a food source, but also a support system for households, especially in areas where other food options are limited. The collected wood is stored carefully and used for cooking and heating. Since access becomes difficult during colder months, storing sufficient firewood in advance is necessary. This activity is not occasional. It is a regular part of preparing for daily living and seasonal changes. At high passes like Doma La, local dances are sometimes performed during gatherings or travel stops. These dances are simple and traditional, reflecting community expression rather than formal performance, often carried out in open spaces surrounded by mountains. Threshing barley is done after harvest during the short farming season. Farmers separate grains from stalks using manual methods, often involving animals or hand tools. This process is carried out collectively, with families working together to complete the task efficiently. Barley is an important crop, so careful handling is necessary to avoid waste. Once separated, the grains are cleaned, dried, and stored for long-term use. This step ensures food availability throughout the year. Winter life is slower and more restricted. Movement between villages becomes limited due to snow and weather conditions. People spend more time indoors, relying on stored food and fuel. Daily activities are reduced to essential tasks, and routines adjust according to available daylight and temperature. Preparation done during warmer months supports survival during this period. Winter is not temporary hardship. It is a regular phase that requires planning, patience, and adaptation. Grazing livestock often takes place at higher altitudes during suitable seasons. Shepherds guide animals to areas where grass is available, sometimes staying there for extended periods. This movement allows livestock to feed naturally, while reducing pressure on lower fields. It requires knowledge of terrain, weather, and safe routes. Grazing is not random. It is planned according to seasonal changes, ensuring animals remain healthy and productive throughout the year. Traditional clothing is designed for practicality. Garments are made from wool and other local materials to provide warmth.
यो ड्रेसको बारेमा केही तपाईहरुले इन्फर्मेसन दिन चाहन्छु। त्यसले हाम्रो भाषाबाट कमलो भन्छ। यो उनले भनेको हुन्छ।
These dresses are simple, durable, and suited to cold conditions, reflecting both environmental needs and long-standing practices. Old monasteries serve as important centers for spiritual and community life. These structures are often built in remote locations, using stone and mud, designed to withstand harsh weather. Monasteries are places where rituals, teachings, and gatherings take place regularly. They also act as points of stability in scattered settlements, bringing people together. Their presence reflects continuity, where religious practices and community interactions remain connected within a challenging environment. Dolpa Valley presents a way of life that continues without relying on constant progress or rapid change. It is a region where systems remain stable because they are built on long-term understanding rather than short-term solutions. What stands out is not difficulty, but the ability to maintain continuity in an environment where conditions do not easily shift. There is a clear sense of structure in how life is organized. Effort is directed toward maintaining balance rather than expanding beyond limits. This creates a lifestyle where stability becomes more important than growth, and where decisions are shaped by awareness of surroundings. Dolpa does not attempt to adjust itself to match the outside world. Instead, it continues within its own framework, where consistency matters more than transformation. This gives the region a distinct identity that is not influenced by external expectations. In the end, Dolpa is not defined by isolation alone, but by how life continues steadily within it, without interruption, and without losing its original structure. Some places are understood through what they offer, while others are understood through how they exist. Dolpa Valley belongs to the second kind. It does not present itself in a way that demands attention, but it leaves an impression through its steady and consistent way of life. Observing such a region changes the way we look at everyday systems. It shifts focus from speed and convenience to structure and balance. The absence of excess highlights what is necessary, and the simplicity of routines reveals how life can function without complication. There is no single moment that defines Dolpa. It is understood gradually, through observation and time. This makes the experience less about what is seen and more about what is realized. As the journey ends, what remains is not just information, but a clearer perspective, an understanding that different environments create their own systems, each complete within its own conditions. If this journey through Dolpa Valley gives you a real perspective, subscribe to the channel for more grounded explorations. Stay connected for stories that go beyond visuals and focus on how life truly continues in places rarely seen.